Now the second, again, about emotions. So usually you always hear from the teacher that when you notice your emotions, it should go away. When you notice your emotions, it should go away. But I think that's not true, especially for like ordinary people like us. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. Instead, it actually gets worse. When we have negative emotions and we get really frustrated because we feel like we cannot stop them, right? Then when we get mad at ourselves, and then we feel like it's even getting worse. And it is one of the most powerful cause of self-hatred. Right? So what should we do? What should you do when you notice emotions? Mostly teachers say that it will be helpful to learn how to calm your emotions and let them pass without getting caught up in them. That probably works when you don't have a powerful emotion. You just try to sort of relax, practice mindfulness, and think about solution, and so on and so forth. But what should you do when you are completely caught up and really overwhelmed by very powerful emotions? I'm not talking about the subtle emotions. I'm talking about very powerful emotions. So it's again, right? It doesn't work if you use sort of those mental techniques, like try to relax or think about nature of your mind and think about emptiness, etc. It doesn't work at the time, right? When you have very strong, powerful emotions, it work? No? Yes? When you have this kind of you're overwhelmed by negative emotions, then you try to meditate, like mindfulness, try to relax. Does it work? No? Are you sure? Did you try?
No.
Yeah? Doesn't work or work?
It gives you a minute, gives you a few seconds, maybe it'll work.
We're not talking about subtle emotions. Subtle emotions, like it's completely, they're gone. Like when you reach the 10th level of this, Buddhism is called 10th Bhumi, it's just 10th level, then you're going to work with the subtle emotions. But we are actually, even though we are not the first level, so we are working with very like this powerful, strong emotions, right? So when you have like very powerful, mostly we say like, negative emotions, like very powerful negative emotions, then you try to relax, mindfulness. I don't know, it depends your personality, but I think usually most people, like say it doesn't work. I think it's true. Maybe work. I don't know. It's different. Different people have different experience, But at that time it doesn't work because they say it's too strong, too strong. So you have to find a different solution. You can try meditate, mindfulness or etc. But if it doesn't work, then you have to find different solution and work with your negative emotions either mentally or physically or both together. As I just mentioned in the last teaching, if you remember it, it doesn't work, right? So usually, of course, you believe that your life would be much easier without negative emotions, such as, sadness, jealousy, fear, etc. Usually we think that if we don't have this kind of emotions, then our life is very peaceful, happy, and good, right? But you should know that your emotions are not necessarily negative, though. Sometimes they provide important information for living your life in a safe and satisfying way. And your emotions are also like important source of motivation. By accepting your emotions, they can help you make better choice. Teachers say that being emotionally sensitive can be both your greatest gift or your biggest challenge. It depends how you make relationship with them. And I will tell you another very important solution for when you are really emotionally sensitive. Like I just said, emotions are one of the cause of self-hatred. So the solution is acceptance, which means you have to accept your body as it is. You have to accept your mind as it is. You have to accept your emotions as they are. And you have to accept your all sort of actions. It is important to understand when I say accept all your actions. It doesn't mean that, for example, when you have jealousy, you should follow it. When you have, when you are angry, you should follow it. You should agree with it. And you should do something according to your jealousy. No. Here, accept means when you recognize that feeling of jealousy, then you can change. Because when you recognize your feeling, then you have the capacity to investigate your emotion. And then you will really understand how to make a relationship with it. That's why one solution, very good solution, is acceptance. Usually we have a wrong perception when our negative emotions arise. We see him or her is doing this or that. But maybe the reality is not exactly like that. Because sometimes there are a number of hidden points we didn't know. That's the point. When I say acceptance is a very good solution, that is the point. Because then you can change your feeling. You can change your feeling. You see that the definition of emotion is mostly the feeling, right? Positive, negative emotions. So you can change your feeling. Feeling of jealousy. So in order to develop, for example, like self-kindness, you need this acceptance. Acceptance is the essence of spiritual practice and the essence of self-love. And acceptance is the first step for self-kindness. If you accept all of that, then you can change your emotions. And then you can develop also, at the same time, you can develop self-kindness. As more and more you develop self-kindness, then you reduce the self-hatred. That is most important solution to self-hatred. Because self-hatred is very common. Like when you have very strong emotions and overwhelmed, then you really unhappy with yourself. You feel like that you can't change anything. Deep down there is this very strong emotions, waiting to, it's like a bomb, waiting to explode. And then you really, everything, all the situation getting worse and worse. And then the self-hatred develop. So therefore, acceptance is another solution. I mean, you don't have to agree with me all these things, but I will give you some different solutions. You can write down, and then when you have strong emotions, you have to use it, or you should try to, use these solutions. Then which is better? Then you will see it. I'm not saying these are the correct, but maybe it will help you, right? I hope. So I will give you lots of different solutions. Very simple, actually, like very simple. I'm not teach you how to meditate on nature mind, how to meditate on emptiness, how to meditate all this, like, very, yeah. I'm not like talking like that kind of things. I'm talking very like normal and ordinary way, give you this kind of simple methods and techniques, then you should try. Because, we are very, it's very common, right? These emotions. Most people are very sensitive and very common. This, what do you call it? Self-headed and these negative emotions. There's so many different emotions. But that's why this another solution is acceptance. But usually we can't accept. We can't accept if someone says something like, okay, okay, that's your problem. If I say, okay, that's your problem, and then you right away say, no, it's not my problem. No. We can't accept. If I say it's your problem, and then you say, really, what? Like, we don't like try to sort of investigate. We can't have that. We can't accept that. If I say, it's your problem, and then you right away say, maybe you get angry right away, or maybe you say, no, it's not my problem. That's very common, right? Usually we can't accept. It's just like we always we think I am the best. I am always correct. I am correct. And we complain, everything. Others complain the weather, the cold, and no heat and everything, like, but I'm good, right? I'm always correct. Means like we don't have this solution, acceptance. That's why I think the essence of loving yourself is really acceptance. Self-headed and looking down upon oneself is the destroyer of growing your capacity. Really is. But anyway, fortunately, we have many great methods and solutions for our emotions. There are temporary solutions and there are ultimate solutions. So like practice in nature mind and practice emptiness and ultimate solution and practice in commitment, good connection, forgiveness, and what is it, this acceptance, etc. There are lots of good methods. If we practice these instructions, I believe they will help us to diminish all of those negative emotions. Without this practice, we are really confused about how to communicate with our feeling and our connection. So I think I always feel like we're very fortunate that we have these methods and techniques, instructions. Because we need no matter, who you are. It doesn't matter. You have, as long as you have emotions, then I think we need solutions. We need antidotes. As I said, especially negative emotions, sometimes very dangerous, destroy everything. So if you don't use these methods, then what else you can do? You just let just destroy yourself. But, very often, people either blame ourselves or others when negative emotions come, and they have no idea what to do. For both of this. Now, the first thing we can do is try to accept all our actions. Okay? The second thing we can do is try to understand that our suffering may have come from our own wrong perception. And then the third thing we can do is try to correct and change our perception. Try to correct and change. With that, we can create a good communication and find out what is really going on. And in this process, we may discover the truth. And we have an opportunity to correct our wrong perception. So here we're talking about negative emotions and how to find freedom from negative emotions. Okay? Generally speaking, the ordinary ways of thinking, generally speaking, okay? Just ordinary way of thinking, and Buddhist tradition have a little bit different meanings for negative emotions, I think. Not negative emotions, also like positive emotions, little bit different meanings. Positive emotions, negative emotions. I will tell you. Maybe I'm correct, maybe I'm not. You check, okay? For ordinary ways of thinking, negative emotions are ones that feel bad. And positive emotions are ones that feel good. For example, sadness. Sadness is a negative emotion. because you feel very unhappy. But how about attachment? Attachment, for example, attachment to a beautiful flower is a positive emotion because you feel happy. Is that true? Or like satisfaction when someone who is your enemy is suffering is a positive emotion. Don't you think? Oh, I'm so happy he's suffering. If you really don't like this person and your enemy and you are so happy. So if your definition of negative and positive emotion is like you feel sad and unhappy and happiness, then I think we're wrong. I mean, attachment is, it should be like positive emotions. But, from a Buddhist point of view, however, the distinction between positive and negative emotions depends on whether they lead to experiencing happiness or suffering. So from a Buddhist point of view, the happiness you feel from your enemy suffering is a negative emotion. Because you are keeping all that negativity in your mind, and eventually, of course, everything's impermanence. Eventually, the situation will change. And when they experience happiness, you will feel jealousy or angry. You see, this happens a lot when people break up, whether they are boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. They feel sad or angry when they see their old partner doing well. Or they feel happy or, vindicated when their old partner is suffering. You say, oh, I'm right. You're suffering without me, But from a Buddhist point of view, Buddha mentioned that you should try not to keep those negative emotions in your mind and try to let them go. If something doesn't work, then, let it go. If you keep that feeling, emotions in your mind, eventually you are the one who is suffering, not the other person. Because as I said, the situation will change, not always same. That's how it is. But if you keep that negative emotions, you keep in your mind continually, and then what happens is that, eventually you are going to suffer. Because you're developing that negative emotion in your mind. Its mind is amazing though. What you practice. If you practice jealousy, you will be really good at it. If you practice anger, you will be very good. If you practice compassion, it's very good. It's whatever, what you practice. You practice mindfulness of mind, it will be really good. If you don't practice at all, then you see, it's different. So that's why if you keep your negative emotions, then you feed them all the time, and then they'll grow. Means like stronger. Means like you all the time you remember. It comes your mind always, all the time, right? And then eventually you're going to suffer. So you can see from this example how a seemingly positive emotion of happiness at the suffering of your enemy is actually a negative emotion, if I'm correct. In the same view, the sadness you feel through having a compassion, through seeing the suffering of other beings, is a positive emotion, because it will lead to the development of your positive quality, like compassion. Compassion is positive quality according to Buddhism. So if you meditate on compassion, which means like you're thinking about others suffering or yourself, then eventually you feel really you become a compassionate person, and then this is, we call it, this is a positive emotion. It's emotion, but it's positive, because then at the same time you also develop your wisdom. You understand the situation for others, the suffering, the cause of suffering. You understand how to, diminish the cause of suffering. That part is wisdom. So you develop your compassion, wisdom. These are positive emotions. So and it's very important for you to understand that disturbing attitudes and negative emotions are not the nature of your mind. Because, I think sometimes people feel like, their negative emotions will never get better. Like, you're always going to have this lots of, this emotions, and deep down there, they're unchangeable, unchangeable roots in your mind, and very powerful. Like it's like a volcano, in your mind, deep down there. Because many people have no idea what is nature of mind. Then these are very common, negative emotions, positive emotions, whatever. It's very common in our life. And then many people think this is the nature of mind, unchangeable. Deep down there is really, you can't change. It's like, But that's why I'm saying, these are, believe me, it's not nature of your mind. Negative emotions, positive emotions, not nature of your mind. It's very true. These emotions are very, very strong and powerful, right? It's very true. But that doesn't mean that they are the nature of your mind. Because, Buddhists called it our habit, old habits. Old habits are not easy to break. And positive changes don't really appear right away. But develop them, slowly. little by little, each day, you should use these very simple methods, meditation techniques, and then you do this every day, little by little, change little by little. You can change it right away, because that's why they call old habits very difficult. They are strong. So therefore, slowly, without expectation, little by little, each and every day, and try to do what is best for yourself, right? Rather than feed your emotions. We should never think that there is no solution to our problems, emotions. Never think that. There are lots of solutions. This is also another common, right? When the people are really, really, strong emotions all the time, and there is no solution. I can't do anything. Never think that. That's a very dangerous idea, I think. And you should know that when you are looking for the solution, like when you have emotions, then you are looking for the solution. It is about your connection with the right situation. Which means first you have to recognize, understand, and accept the negative emotions. And then you can work with them. You can work with them properly, whether they are your emotions or someone else's. So, recognize, understand, then accept. With that powerful connection, these are connection. When you are looking for a solution, it is about connection. So if you have this powerful connection, you will feel that you can do this. You can do this. So now the first step is these are my idea. The first step is to have a plan for what you will do when you have emotions. Again, these emotions are not subtle. I'm talking about very strong, okay? You have to make plans. Americans like make plans. Right? Especially future plans. Right? So first step is you need a plan for what you do. What will you do when you have emotions? You should write down your plans. Okay? Like practice mindfulness, awareness, or exercise, right? Exercise, or playing a game, etc. That's first step, plan. Second step is to write down many good reasons to not engage with your negative emotions again. Write down many good reasons. Okay? This is how how I meditate with my emotion. So keep that list with you and read it when your emotions start to come back. And then you should make a commitment. Very important. Commitment is another solution. Make a commitment to try not to follow them, because you will have a stronger motivation from your list. It's actually about remembering your commitments. When you practice Bodhisattva, do you remember that, right? The 4 powers. The most practice powers like regret and resolution. When you regret something, then it makes you, I'm not going to do this again, ever again. That the resolution. Actually, the essence of practice Bodhisattva is resolution. It's commitment. Commitment is very important. Make you better person, stronger person, and everything. So that's second step. Now the third step is, I think, whatever you do with your emotions, try to not have too much expectations for what will happen. For example, if you are sad, depending on what you do, you may expect that you can avoid the sadness. That is your expectation. That is your expectation. It will create more problems. It will create more problems. Many other problems. If you have too much expectation, it will create more problems. So you should just be mindful. Mindfulness can increase your awareness of difficult emotions so that you will know how to connect with them. So take these steps to identify your emotions, and through these steps you will be able to work with them without blaming yourself and others. So that is another solution, I think, for these 3 steps. Another solution. They're very simple, nothing difficult, right? We all can do that. But it's very profound, I think, very good. What will you do when you have strong emotions? Most people try to meditate, right? Try to meditate and relax and like that, investigate and try to recognize the essence of emotions. That's very common, but I think more and more it doesn't work that. It's so we need different solutions. I mean, there is, but very simple. I think this again, like mindfulness of body, is very good one. Mindfulness of body is not good for the subtle emotions, but they're very good for the strong and very powerful emotions. When you are very, like, overwhelmingly, negative emotions, and then you should not try to relax. You should touch something. Okay? Touch something, because you feel very vividly, like the body, the physical mindfulness of body is like you right away you feel it, it's easy. That's why this is a very temporary solution. And then you just forget if you're very sad, and then you try to do this mindfulness of body, then for a while, you forget your sadness. It's still there, but it's good. That's all. I will teach you, tell you more solutions next section, okay? Yeah.
For the one thing I find when the emotion is subtle, I can separate.
Emotions what?
When emotion is subtle,
Uh-huh.
I can separate the emotion from my experience of the emotion. So I can separate myself and look at it, and so that's only that, and it goes away. But when it is strong, I cannot separate myself.
That's what I'm talking here.
And it gets like,
Then what do you do?
it feels like it has a very tight grip. I try to relax my body.
Yeah, very tightness. That's this feeling, that's definition of this strong emotions. It's very tightness, body, physically, like, in your heart, so it's very like tightness. So it's very hard. It's very difficult to relax at that point, That situation is very, very difficult. Next time you should very, very cold water put on your body.
I don't like cold.
That's why I'm saying you don't like. Okay, try to meditate now. Okay. Okay, now this time we should meditate with the emotion, okay? First of all, of course, sit and comfortable. Relax your body. And once you're relaxed, then you can start feel your feelings. Kind of look inside, right? Look inside and feel your feelings, and then pick up an emotion, okay? That is always coming to your mind. You may not have now, right? This moment, maybe you don't have any emotions, either like positive or negative, nothing. You're very calm, but you should try to look inside, and then when you look at inside, you feel something, your feelings. Then you should pick up an emotion that is not like common. You should pick up this emotion that is always very commonly coming into your mind, that kind of emotion, okay? You should pick up that emotion and just follow it for a few seconds to understand when I say follow it, right? Few seconds. And then pay attention to it and ask yourself, where does it stay? If you do this, and if you don't find where it is, If you don't find where it is, then rest there, relax there for as long as you can. Do you understand? Sometimes when you watch your emotion, then your mind stops thinking. And then you can do resting sort of easily. Don't do anything else. And then when it comes back, for sure, again, return to your awareness of the feeling of your emotion and investigate a little bit about where it comes from. Where it comes from. And again, if you can't find it, then just relax there and try to recognize the essence of your emotion, which is this very basic openness. Meditate on it. So this time you should take your emotions as object of meditation. Then rest and open awareness. That is the instruction this time. The key point is that emotions and distraction are a natural part of your meditation. So for a few minutes, meditate like this, okay? And enjoy this meditation for a few minutes, please. Very good. Sometimes when you meditate, okay, you're like this. Close your eyes. You block your wisdom. Sometimes open your eyes better. You just look at in front of your space. Open your eyes, right? But your concentration is not there. You focus inside. Looking there doesn't mean you focus on there. So you look there. My eyes are open now, and then I look over there, but my mind completely inside there, not there. So this light, when you open eyes, there is a light. This light will really help your meditation. You can feel this openness through the light. Not only the light, but when you close your eyes, it's really hard to feel this openness. When you investigate, when you pick up emotion, whether like positive emotion, negative emotion, whatever, it's very common in your mind every day, you pick at that emotion, right? And then you investigate, a little bit investigate, where does it come from? Where does it stay? Eventually, if you investigate like that, eventually you can't find it. Instead, you will see this openness. And then you meditate on that. And then, of course, if you're a beginner, then your thoughts right away arise, right? And then you have to do it again, many times, many times like that. That's how you develop the stable mind. This openness is not the exact the nature of your mind, but it's really good. It's good foundation. All right, thank you very much. Very nice. So now we'll time for lunch, and the dedication is closing prayers. Oh, where is it? May I attain in each and every life those learn virtues of existence and peace. May I pursue the follow. You're saying open and prayer. Start over again. Okay. May I attain in each and every life the silent virtues of existence. May I pursue the following mind of tourism, working for the welfare of others on a vast scale. Through this very merit mind, may every single sentient beings eliminate all forms of negativity and practice virtues forevermore. May supreme practice bodhicitta take birth where it has not arisen, where it has arisen, may it never win, but continue to grow forevermore. May I, in my life, no matter where I am born, obtain the seven qualities of the upper realms of existence. May I meet the Dharma immediately after taking birth, and have the freedom to practice perfectly. May I please the sublime gurus, and day and night dedicate myself to the Dharma by realizing the Dharma and practicing its innermost essence. May I cross the oceans of conditioned existence in this very life. May I teach the sublime Dharma perfectly, and never become weary and tired to benefit others in samsara. By my own impartial and all-encompassing activities to the benefit of others, may all attain enlightenment together.